Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Improv Network podcast. This is a series of conversations aimed at building stronger connections throughout the improv community. I'm James Quesada.
And I'm Bob Wick.
And we are your education team for the Improv Network. The improvnetwork.org is a great organization and resource. You can go to the website and check out everything from blogs and interviews to festival resources and a Improv FAQ educational resource page, which has these conversations archived as well as some mini lectures on the topics of improv for your enjoyment. So be sure to check that out. Bob,
yeah.
During the countdown to start the show, I must have I wiped some dust off of the top of my laptop, and I must have it has one of those space bar or touch bars.
Okay.
You got a Mac myself off the page because probably 5 seconds before actually going on screen, I got kicked out of the StreamYard session. So that was why.
Yeah, it started. I just saw the single shot of me oh, I guess I'm doing this. Okay.
But I'm back. And so are we after 100 episodes, Bob.
Yeah,
this is
season
episode 101. Season 2. We do our seasons in increments of 100.
It's easy math. That's why we do it.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to keep the conversations going. And you want to just get right to it and introduce our guest?
Yeah, better sooner than later.
Yeah.
Let's
do it now. Our guest is a good friend of ours, originally from the Detroit improv community, now based in LA. He is a Second City alum and just an awesome, funny improviser and person. And he's also the host of the podcast My Neighbors Are Dead, which everyone should check out wherever you find podcasts. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about it at some point throughout our conversation. But let's go ahead and bring on our guest, Adam Peacock. Welcome.
Hi guys, how are you, James? Hey, I have fallen victim to the touch bar as well too. So, oh my god, I got this Mac I think last year, and I was typing. I was talking to somebody on Zoom, and I hit the volume, and it turned off the volume completely, and I was furious. I was like, "This is brand new. I can't believe it." But I'm just an idiot. So.
No, yeah, it is. They're not clear enough. I have not found use for the touch bar.
It looks cool though.
Yeah, and it does. It opens up specific things in different apps, but I'm it's just too. It's a cool idea, but it's not practical.
Yeah. See, I'm a PC user and Natalie's a Mac user, and she's always trying to get me to use her Mac. And it's like learning a completely different language. So she's a master of that little bar thing. I know what you're talking about but I have no idea how to use it. I just man, if I could use just a typewriter, I'd be okay.
I wish.
Drop us your pro tips if you got them. We are going to talk about
back to Mac Talk with James and Bob.
So I feel like everybody who joins us for an episode of Improv Shop Talk, Adam is somebody who is happy to talk about anything improv. Bob actually picked out the topic for this episode, which is subtlety. And before we jump into that, for our viewers, please feel free to drop a question if you got it, whether on the topic of subtlety. We are likely to meander on other topics beyond that. And if you have other questions you want to throw in there on anything else, feel free to do so. But Bob, what did you have in mind for subtlety?
Well, Adam, I was just so excited that you said you'd be on the show. I haven't seen you perform in a while because you moved. But when I used to come and watch you in Eye Candy, you were one of my favorite performers because no matter what scene you were in, you were a very natural character. And that was a group that would do these beautiful, weird, bigger than life scenes. And I don't think you were trying to ground it, but because I don't think that's an appropriate way of expressing how you perform, but you were like the most relatable character in the scene for me. So
I think it's hard to keep up with a Tim McKendrick. So yeah. I don't know if I can match that energy. So I'll just do the opposite of whatever he's doing. So.
That's fair. I've always thought of you as like almost a Jason Sudeikis type style performing.
Oh, that's nice of you. Thanks, man. Yeah. That's very kind of you.
Yeah, would you agree with that, Adam? I've only seen you play a couple times, and it's always been great. But I agree with Bob that maybe it is because you're playing with some particularly high energy people that you throw a complimentary energy in there. But do you typically play subtlety or close to self?
I do, because I think I'm not comfortable doing that big character stuff. I don't think I'm good at it. So the more subtle, like you said, Bob, the more closer to me, closer to grounded. It's more comfortable for me to play in that area.
But I would also say you do it in a way, because I know you, it doesn't look like you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's close to you, but like you can obviously tell you're doing a character, you're doing the work, you're in the scene. It's not like, hey, the scene's going on, I'm Adam, so what's up?
No, but if I ever do improvise again, if this ever opens up out here in LA, I'll do that.
I'd fucking watch.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, oh God, I don't know. I mean, somebody like McKendrick, Tim McKendrick. I don't know if he's been on here. If you guys, the last time you saw Tim or played with Tim or saw him play, Tim is really good at that. I think he's good at big characters and really kind of, just big characters, big fun characters, and it's always fun. It was always fun to play, like I said, the opposite of that, because I think we always found something a little. I don't like. All right, here's something for you guys, and I don't know if I'm wrong in this. It really drives me nuts when I see somebody match somebody else's character and energy in a scene. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like,
mirroring.
Am I wrong in that? Like, yeah, mirroring, I guess. Yeah. Am I wrong in that? Because it always feels like, I feel like there's more to get out of a scene if it's two different characters. Or am I wrong?
I think that's I think that to me is like two sort of fundamental approaches. Because there was a theater out here in New York for a little while called Reckless, and their whole teaching style was centered on mirroring, and it was definitely like when I guess you just have to figure out like what to do with it, because it is very different. I think that I agree with you that especially when somebody is playing a big wild character, I like to just play as real as possible and be a backdrop for their absurdity. But I think that jumping kind of peas in a pod has its own opportunities that are just very different. I think the scary thing about it to me is that it's easy to feel trapped and be like, okay, we're just the same, so what do we do from here?
I guess I shouldn't say drives me nuts. That's a terrible way to put it. It just seems very limiting to me.
Yeah, right. I think I like your approach as far as if I can match that energy, if I think I can do the character, if I can honor the character to what the person's trying to set up, cool. I don't like it when someone does a dull, dumbed down version because they're not mirroring, I guess, with 100% commitment. So I feel that's limiting to them, because if you're not gonna go there, then I don't know, be the voice of the audience or be the odd man out.
Right.
Yeah.
I am.
It's probably a good question, man.
It's been so long. It's been so long since I've been regularly playing that I actually don't have a great answer on the spot though about what do you do when you mirror though?
Keep in mind, you're right, because I haven't played in forever. So when we're talking about it, I think I'm rediscovering those things too. Like, oh yeah, mirroring. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Right.
But do you have a particular sort of how would you describe what you're trying to do when somebody comes out and is big strong broad character? What are you trying to poke at when you play off of that or contrast to it?
Oh boy. I think I don't know. I think when something like, when somebody does something like that, I think it's exciting to me, and I want to just see how much can we get out of this, like not just oh God, I sound such an asshole. Like not just between me and the person that I'm improvising with, but like, what can we do? How does it relate? Again, this is all basic stuff, but like, how does it relate? How does this character relate in the world? Like, what are the circumstances in the world outside of just the scene that we're in that are affecting this guy, or like what brought these two people together? So I think that's I just want to see how much we can get out of something, or how much I can give that person to make that character better. Not better. I'm sorry, not better. Gift, and like just more toys to play with, I guess. Better is terrible.
That's the premise of.
We're gonna take all these things that you correct out of context and quote them for the episode.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh man, but isn't that basically the premise of your podcast? Like, you are playing a version of yourself, interviewing this big wild character that was affected by the events that took place during a horror movie.
Yeah, it's fun for me to do that when I'm hosting. I love doing that. The people that we've had are so great, and we've been very lucky with the people that we've had on the show. And like, I love it when they are doing those things, like those big crazy characters, really over the top. And I just kind of love, at least I try to do it. I love to feed them more, like, just, I don't know if I do a good job of it or not. I think I am, but I'm probably not. But I'd like to just, how much, I hate to keep saying it, but like, how much can you get out of it?
Right.
Yeah, I think you do a great job of it.
Thanks, buddy.
Listening to the episodes that I've listened to, I think that you, speaking of subtlety, you tend to like float things that you seem to know will get a reaction, or hope will get a reaction out of people, but you do it in really subtle ways. So which is curious to me. Like, one of the episodes I listened to was with you and Andy Carey, and he was you guys were talking about Tremors, and Andy took on the character of like the mayor of the neighboring town where Tremors killed everybody. And he was this mayor was proud of his town being a city. Like, he was like, for a big city, but it's because the city has like 1,400 people, and Tremors is only those like 14 people that die or whatever. But you Adam,
I like that you keep calling it Tremors attacks the town. I like that.
Yeah. Do they have a different name, or do those monsters have a name?
I think they're called the Graboids. Are they the Graboids?
I don't know.
Oh, I've always called them the Tremors.
They're Tremors.
You know what? I stopped watching when Tremors got legs. I was no longer interested.
Yeah.
That's I think it was like 15 or 16 at a time, and that was like I drew a line. Like, nope.
Hey man, everybody, you got to have your limits, buddy. I get it.
I have a very specific taste in how I want my Tremor to be.
You can't let this world push you around.
Yeah.
But so Andy's character was proud to be from what he thought was a big city, a mayor of a big city, and you at some point, I can't remember if it felt like you intended to do this, but you called it a town, and he was like, "Excuse me, it's a city." But it's like it's little things like that where the way that you presented the question, he could have just answered it or missed it or whatever. And Andy's also obviously a fantastic improviser too, so
right.
Yeah, not likely to miss it, but like, I don't know, how do you present little things like that are just kind of like almost more baiting people, as opposed to like, or overtly like, throwing rocks at them, like that seems tough to me to like kind of subtly be like, are you going to take the bait over on the side?
It's almost as they're propelling the ship and you're steering it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Again, I don't know how this answer is going to sound. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
You're free to be completely honest. It's okay.
No, I think James, to answer that, I try to do it as subtly as possible. Like if like a town or a city thing gets brought up, at least I try to do this. Like, I'll put it out there, and if it's not being picked up on or whatever, I'll maybe kind of poke it again. But if not, I'm good just to move on, because I think the people that we've had on the show are so great that if Andy and I never got back to that, whatever, like we'll find something else. So I think I don't try to beat it over the head too much. For those little callbacks or little call outs and stuff like that.
It's almost like being passive aggressive in a conversation with somebody that you don't like, just in the sense that like, you know what I mean? Like you're trying to like sort of get away with something or pretend like you are unconsciously treating someone some way. But if you do it wrong, it gets ugly. And you ruin the tension of it, right? So it's there's part of a game of it of like, am I just over the line or just behind it?
Right. And I think sometimes people are very clear that I don't want to talk about that anymore, so we're not getting through it. I don't have anything for that, and I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's this might be a little bit of a tangent, but I think I hear some people in great improvisers who I associate with you, Adam, people like Chris D'Angelo in particular, who talk about like when people are out, do you have anything for on like a bit or a riff or mini game inside of a scene or something? And I think it's such a useful way to think about things if you're on the same page with other people who like play that way of like, I'm going to offer this up and I'll keep setting it up if you keep knocking it down and feeling out when you're ready to move on. But I don't know. I'm curious, like if you have any thoughts to elaborate on about like playing with that approach with that kind of like feel in mind of like playing ping pong, behind the character, as opposed to just like completely shooting from the hip or playing impulsively. Like how does that playing style relate to you?
Like being able to get locked in with like,
just thinking about things in terms of like what's going on, like the player behind the character, you know what I mean? Like oh, I think my partner it can catch fire on this, or like, you know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know how, like, I don't know what it's like with everybody else, but the people that like the eye candy shows, for example, like, all those years ago, I think you just kind of, those, like, it sounds so silly, but it's like, you're just friends with these people. So you're doing bits with each other off stage anyways, that certainly translates in there. So I think your buddies. And then, so I don't think it's hard to get those things out of them. Certainly a guy like Chris, Chris and I haven't played together in a while, but I don't think it would be difficult for us to jump back in. No. For me, like on my end of it, of knowing what I can get away with somebody, knowing what their end of it is, my end of it is that I just don't want anybody to get mad at me for like, you've been in this for too long. I'm mad. I'm annoyed. I don't want the audience to get annoyed. I don't want the people in the back line or whoever else is playing, like, get on with it, So it's my own insecurities that are like, let's do it just a couple more times and then we got to be done.
Can we talk about eye candy? Oh, sorry.
Sure. Yeah.
Because to me, when I was starting, like, that was such a big influence on everybody who was coming up through the Second City program or the Improv Inferno program, because you guys were the only, like, maybe one of the few, other than the Monday Night at the Ant, was the only few long form improv troupes that were performing on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. So that was a big thing for us. Like we would go to class and then drive all the way out to Ann Arbor just to, check you guys out. And it was awesome. It was like, that was the goal. Like
when you guys talk about that stuff with other guests, how much time is devoted just like, man, that was so much fun. How much fun was that?
Yeah, totally.
It was.
Honestly, it is like, it's like, man, like we got to make that. What are we actually going to talk about here? Because sometimes it is like, just like, wow, how cool. Which I think,
I mean, that would be
this little bit of value.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions or they want advice, that's our advice. Just do that. Just everything that we're talking about, go do that for yourself.
Yeah.
So how did I Candy get started? How did you guys form?
That was PJ. I think PJ and Chris were they were talking about they wanted to put some people together to play with, and I think PJ, he was one of my teachers. I had him, I think, in one of my classes. But after we finished, I think we were the first class to come out of the Novi space when it got moved there. So I think after we had our final class show, like, you know, the end of the program, like PJ asked if I wanted to do this, and it was it was PJ, Chris, McKendrick, and then he asked me, and then later on Tim Robinson joined as well too. So that was all PJ and Chris put that thing together.
Yeah, because the big thing that went around I was a freshman when you already graduated, was you guys were like locked in this basement for like 6 months before the Inferno even opened, and you would rehearse for 12 hours a day, and
is that true?
Izzo would come by and shoot paint bullets at you if you were doing it wrong.
No. No. No, that wasn't. I don't think that. If that happened, I wasn't there.
Adam, you had the least attendance. That's what
I mean, it sounds like it. You could probably throw Robinson in there as well too, because usually he and I were fucking off before the show. So no, not at all. I mean, we were just like, you know, I think we probably got together to play a little bit before we started doing shows, but I don't ever remember us rehearsing or doing anything like that. Yeah. It was just, I'm honestly, you know what the rehearsal was, and you guys have probably talked about this as well too. And it was just sitting in the basement doing bits before the show.
Yeah.
You know, same thing like at the Ants, you know, you're sitting upstairs just doing bits, then you go do the same thing downstairs. Yeah. I think, it is a topic that has come up in different contexts in conversations on the show before, which is basically like there's the argument or like there's the validity to the fact that like that is an essential component to having a truly successful team, especially one that's going to last a long time, you know, beyond being like cast by a theater or getting an opportunity for a limited run. You know, winning a tournament or something. Like if a team's going to stick together, you do have to have like genuine, if not like close friendship. Cause, you know, I'd say like there's teams that I have really close friendships with, that we're not necessarily like best friends and go everywhere together, but like I just genuinely enjoy hanging around people, enjoy trying to figure out how they tick, what makes them tick, what makes them laugh. And being around them before and after shows to just shoot the shit, catch up, have a drink.
Yeah,
that is essential. And then there's the other end of it though, where it's like, if that's all you're doing, you have to be insanely lucky to sort of like, it almost just feels like a complete roll of the dice. Like how do you sort of do anything in particular if all it is just being friends, you know? And so there's like the two ends where it's like, if you have too much, just like focus on training and practice and rehearsal and like working on the craft of it, then you're kind of losing the chemistry that makes improv so magical and open-ended. But if you don't have any like goals or structure or whatever, then you can have all that friendship and be a total shit show on stage.
Totally. Well, God, yeah, absolutely. I've done it. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
We all have.
Like, well, where do you guys fall on this? Like, I mean, are you somewhere in the middle, or do you subscribe to one idea more than the other?
I was definitely advocating for more training and rehearsal and stuff when I got started out, because it was just so nebulous. Like, Go had just gotten started, and there was like the proving grounds where you would just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. Like, that's how it was treated. I was a big culprit of that. And then eventually I was like, we got to get like organized if we're going to like see how far we can take this. I kept running into like walls in my, just feeling like, ooh, wouldn't it be fun to try or do this? But like this far in, now it's been like 10, 11 years. Now I'm like, especially like when I got to New York, it's a big city with a lot of people from a lot of different places, and the theaters are just throwing together these teams and being like, okay, you guys play together like you've known each other for your whole life now. And I'm like,
yeah.
And then when those teams try to rehearse, I'm like, can we just like actually get to know each other? Because I feel like I don't really know, we're not comfortable around each other. So like I've definitely swung back the other way.
No, I noticed that a lot. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bob.
Oh, no, go ahead. No, you go. You're the guest.
I teach a couple classes at Second City out here, like just really a couple just intro classes. And I think, James, I love doing that stuff. I love the getting to know you, period of those first hours or so of class, because I think that's what makes those shows and those classes really fun and great. When, like you said, let's get to know each other before we do this. But how much of that too, and I don't know where you guys fall in this or if you guys have talked about it too, like you said at the beginning when you were starting out, and I think that's right. I think whether you're learning to whatever it is, improvising, music, whatever, like, yeah, having that structure is great. But also when you're putting a show together, I think absolutely, like how can we structure this as best we can? What do you think on I don't even know what the term is, not personal accountability, but like at some point, like you and I have been doing this long enough to where like, all right, we don't know each other at all. But if you put the three of us in a room together, we've done this long enough to where like, okay, we have the basic, skill set to be able to do that. Is that the right term? Yeah. So like how much of that is on, I don't want to say on you, because that makes it sound like there's a lot of pressure to it, because there's no pressure, but I guess on you, how much of that are you responsible for?
Right. No, I think you're right. And I think it's situational, because if we all happen to be at Go and are like, oh, we got a slot open, can you do a show? Like, yeah, absolutely, we can do a show.
Totally, absolutely.
But if we had a residency and we're doing the same show and we're all good friends and we were just doing the same bit over and over again, then maybe it's time to do a rehearsal so we can show some range and actually, kick each other in the ass and do something different. Yeah, so I think everything's situational with this art.
That just sounds like wanting to get better, though, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Like you just want to be more, just better creatively and like really test yourself.
If you think about it, what makes the improv show suck? Like sometimes it's just one person, and sometimes it's the whole team not doing their thing.
Right.
So you as the individual have to give yourself some goals and almost do like a individual rehearsal, if you will, or
sure, yeah,
self-coaching, or is it as a team? We're not collaborating enough, so let's tighten up.
Yeah. I think most of the time it is just about like playing. It's like recognizing the balance. Like when has it been too long since you and your group have just like gone out and hung out? And when has it been too long since you had a fully attended rehearsal?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And actually, to bring back something Adam said, like there are those troops, are going to do that one thing that they always do. Like, oh, well, it's time to go get a drink because they're going to do the restaurant scene again.
I love the restaurant scene.
The restaurant scene can be really good.
Yeah. But I do think it's about, to me, there were very particular things that I wanted to do that I think that like would be tough to just kind of get on stage with your own kind of like personal goals and accomplish. But I love like high concept stuff. So I loved having groups that did. I had a folk and fairy tale group, and I played with a group with Joe and Travis that we were the offbeats, and we did a poetry opener and interludes and stuff, and then so. I don't know, or like even Adam, you mentioned, that, and we have this quoted that it drives you nuts.
It doesn't drive me nuts. It doesn't.
That's the name of the things that drive Adam Peacock nuts.
No, it doesn't.
101.
But in all seriousness, it's like if you know what you like, it also makes sense to me to be like, okay, I want to find other people to play with where we're playing like the acting of it more so than the abstract or like kind of group game stuff of it. Or if you want to do outlandish things and be able to like just go into like bonkers world and have fun there at a moment's notice, then those two types of people probably might not want to be in the same group. So then you're like, okay, well,
yeah, it is. I mean, I do like when those two things sort of just kind of happen organically. Mm-hmm. You know, that's really fun. Those shows are always really fun to be a part of, when like that. Yeah, just that roller coaster of like what you just described. Those are always the most fun.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like Eye Candy had ingredients to it too. That kind of like, again, like I feel like if you are gonna having a group of friends that is also that awesome on stage, like comedically, mm-hmm. It's necessary to have the friend part of it, but like there's more to it too, because like you're also kind of like, you have more cerebral players like Chris and PJ, and then you have really like fly off the handle people who like will shake that off and create mischief. And I don't know, maybe like with Tim and Tim, but are you somewhere in between those two, Adam?
When you were just describing those, I think the person that I want to be is I want to steal parts of all of that and then be somewhere in the middle. Yeah, I don't know. I would. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I think so. It's certainly like I can say this as a performer, like it's really fun to be in a group with those two dynamics at play in a scene. Like that's super fun to be with as somebody, as you said, somewhere in the middle of it. That's got what fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Garrett's like that too. Garrett Fuller's like that as well too. I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why. Yeah, I always like playing with him, because I think he's such a good compliment to whoever I think he's playing with, and he can turn that on and off, both of those styles on and off real quick.
Oh yeah. He's like the definition of range when it comes to that kind of.
Totally. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
I'm always saying that because I hope he listens.
Yeah, I to me that's my goal. Is I never want to stop doing either of those things, and I want to be good at both of them. Like so if I do one of those, I'm happy to do either world for a while. But if I'm in a group that's like I discovered I'm happy to do narrative, but like I get a little tapped out on it quicker than other stuff. But like, I think it's because narrative doesn't really allow for a complete departure, and so I feel like I'm missing the opportunity or the possibility of something. So I definitely agree that like it's fun to be in a group that has those dynamics, and that I mean, just on a personal level, it's I want to always be able to like play with somebody that has that strength and not feel uncomfortable or caught off guard about it.
What's it like for you guys now when you're doing shows? Do you think about that stuff when you go do shows, or do you just kind of just jump up and whatever happens?
I think I'm more the let's see what's going on, and because because I think about levels and range during a set. So if we just had a bunch of high energy scenes in a row, I might make a conscious decision like, all right, let's let the audience breathe. So break, because you've been in a room with
these guys have been laughing too hard. Let's let them get a water break.
I've seen Bob Crush, man. I've seen Bob Crush.
But it's that thing, like, it can be too manic if we get too hype, and I've been accused of that. So like I make a conscious decision, like, maybe now it's time for give them a different type of story, because that's basically what we're doing.
How much is it for you guys too? And this is I'd probably make me sound terrible. How much of it is just plain laziness? Because I will tell, like, I'll talk when I'm talking to like a class that I have or whatever, they're talking about big characters. I'm like, yeah, man, I want you to do that. And this is my own jaded opinion. Keep in mind, you might have to do that for 7 minutes. Can you do that for 7 minutes? Because I can't do that because I'm lazy.
No. Loss is not something too physical. Like,
yeah.
No, I will do the slow scene if I'm sweating because I don't like that.
I sweat all the time.
I'm 42 years old. I want a break.
Yeah, no, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's definitely exhausting. And I honestly, it's like the especially when I mean, this is the long break that no one expected. But if I haven't been playing with regularity in a team that where my goal or the playing style doesn't include big broad characters, then it's like the less I do it, the harder it is for me to get back to it, because then I get like scared or nervous, or like you just have that like hesitation start to grow back, where it's like I don't know. I just like I am less likely to jump on my impulse to just like do a character into free fall than if I'm conditioned to doing it. So
Yeah, I actually had that happen to me last night. It was like the first time I played in 18 months. And we do a late show called Name the Show, where it's just a montage. And I got pimped into dancing. And I almost denied it just because I was like, fuck, man, this is past my bedtime. And I'm usually like the opposite. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fucking you want the big guy to dance? Here it is. You're gonna wish you never asked for it. But like last night I did not. I was like, I should be watching.
That's a pandemic thing though too, man. That's like that's a quarantine pandemic thing. Because I had to go to do something at like 9:30 the other night. And I was like, this is fucking stupid. Like should be in bed.
Yeah.
Can I swear? Is it okay if I swear on here?
Oh,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. This is basically like a conversation we're having at the bar. So it's
none of us had started yelling about professional wrestling yet. So I mean, it's not that close to being at the bar.
Are you watching still?
Oh, I'm loving all this AEW stuff.
I was about to say, are you AEW or WWF?
AEW, man. It's so great.
That's how old I am.
No, it's always going to be the WWF.
Yeah.
To the grave.
We've gotten to do so. Brett Gunnell, he has this show that I'm lucky enough to be a part of called Flying Chuck.
Right.
And through improv out here, and you guys, I'm sure you've seen it. Like
they've been Detroit a couple times for the festival. Yeah.
It's weird hanging out with pro wrestlers. It's the best.
Right.
Yeah. It's cool, man.
Very cool. Yeah.
We did a show with Luchasaurus, and Luchasaurus is, I don't know if you know who Luchasaurus is, but he's this wrestler in AEW, and he wrestles with Luke Perry's son, Jungle Boy, and they're great. And Luchasaurus is a cartoon character in real life. He is fucking enormous. I couldn't believe how big he was when I walked in.
Wow. And you're a pretty tall guy yourself, so that's
yeah. I think here's the thing that makes me feel better is that I think I am taller than him, but he would just destroy me. The guy's like,
yeah. Quentin Hicks in workshops will get people to pick a wrestling persona, and do like a rant or a promo or what do you is that what you call like a pre-show
cutting a promo
trash talk?
Yeah. Does he really? I like that exercise. That seems like what a great Quentin thing to do. Does he do the Mighty Quinn for you?
Oh yeah. He does one. Well, and then he switches to more of a Mean Gene Okerlund type deal where he interviews you, and you have to name your character, name your opponent, and then tell your opponent everything you're going to do to that opponent and why. That's
really funny. I got to do the Mighty Quinn in a best of, and I'm not as funny. It doesn't work with me as much as it does with Quentin. The aesthetic just isn't the same.
Oh, he's got for lack of a better term, it's like stage presence. That's
yeah.
Oh my God.
That's like his masked wrestler character, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, like when you see like a full-grown man do it, it's really funny, and then like this little baby comes walking out, baby-headed little kid. Like, nobody believes this guy.
Well, I suppose this is loosely related to both wrestling and improv, but Kurt has a question. Does having a troupe brand make you more marketable, or are you more likely to be branded as a lazy troupe?
Having a group brand, like being known as like the wacky guys, or
Kurt, if you want to maybe elaborate on the second part, because I'm clear on like does having a troupe brand, can you brand yourself as a troupe? I think about it in terms of like, do the same principles that work for like bands, like a rock band having an image and a, trying to like get people to know what genre they are. Does that help book shows or attract audience? Or I'm not as clear on Kurt's question about being branded as a lazy troupe.
My gut answer would be, I guess, depending on what the brand is. Like if you're branded out, like, these guys, they do all this physical stuff and Shakespeare, and it's just crazy, and wow, that's a lot of work. I don't see how anybody can call that lazy. Or
I mean, I think like I was going to mention improvised Shakespeare. I don't know if you guys have ever caught a show. I mean, it's amazing. So I think that's a great brand. I think people, when you see an improvised Shakespeare show, you see a great show. I think it can go on the other end of it too. I think what Kirk was saying, the lazy thing where you're like, we're the coconut heads, and they wear coconuts on stage, like. So I think
I don't know. I like that one. I would watch the coconut heads.
Actually, I would too. I think that would be really fun. I bet you they're really funny. One guy's like 53. He only started taking classes because he just wanted to get out of the house.
Yeah,
there's a computer programmer in there at some point.
Yeah. The coconut heads was definitely the older guy's idea, and everyone else was like, "What if we did?"
He lets us rehearse in his garage. Yeah, we got to.
Guys, before our show, I made us something.
Look under your chair.
Look at your
coconut.
Wow. Hey, I haven't asked you to do a single thing this entire rehearsal.
You're right.
Can you just wear these, please, for the old man?
Well, so I'm curious. What are your thoughts on that, on that, Adam? Because I'm just now thinking about like in terms of Eye Candy was a group that the Detroit improv scene was very different during Eye Candy, and a relatively new or smaller scene, even compared to what it is now, and still compared to what like New York, Chicago, LA is. So like if you're just like a bomb ass troupe, that is a draw, and there's like community buzz by itself, which is still pretty much true. But like in Chicago or LA, like more modern landscape of improv, like what are your thoughts on like should a troupe kind of think about Facebook page and all that stuff, or like when do you kind of?
Oh, Jesus Christ! I have no idea, man. I do whatever it takes to get your thing out there, man. Like, I think so.
Do you feel like it's like? Go ahead. Sorry, say it again.
Does that hustle go away? Because I feel like that's something that like we would have done back in Detroit, and in I don't
on MySpace back in the day.
Yeah, totally. I don't think that changes. I mean, do it. Get your stuff out there, man. Like, whatever you can do to get seen, right? I think.
Are there things that because I mean, we're friends on Facebook and anything, but I don't think of you as like a social media.
I'm not. I'm terrible at it.
But for the show, like, are there things you had to learn or had to adapt or had to just force yourself to do just to promote My Neighbors?
For My Neighbors? Yeah. Nate DeFort. Thank God. Like, if it wasn't for him,
that's a master.
In terms of anything on like promotion or anything that we do, that's all him. Like he's always giving me shit. He's like, you really should, do X, Y, and Z on social media. I'm like, dude, I'm just not good at it. So, I don't think it hurts. I think get yourself a Nate DeFort for sure. Yeah.
He's like the only guy I know who understands what the algorithms are. Like, he's like, you gotta do the hashtags, man. Like, why?
He starts talking about that stuff, and I'm like,
important. they affect your RSS feed.
Coming out.
Like how? I don't know.
Yeah, he's fantastic at that. Yeah, so I mean, it's certainly helped the show. I think we've built relationships, even if for just a brief time, with some horror publications and some things outside of the comedy world that we would not have been able to do were it not for that. So, I think definitely do that stuff.
Let me ask you this: were you a horror kid? Were you big into horror? Because I remember I think it was like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was one of the ones that I remember you talking about, like, oh, this is like an important movie to me.
Oh, I had a t-shirt.
Yeah. Overall.
I was. Certainly maybe not as much as other people that I was friends with, or, right. I might've been considered you're a poser, but always. Yeah. I've told it on the show. Like, I found those things when my grandfather, he worked at Ford's, and he would bring home VHS tapes with like 3 movies on them, and 2 of them were horror movies. So when I spent the night over there, I'd sneak out and watch them. So yeah, I found them pretty early on. Yeah.
Yeah. When I hired into Ford, that was still a thing. I missed that.
What, when you could work at Ford?
Yeah. No, I worked at Ford and used to get the VHS. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I used to be one of the perks.
Wait, what is this? They would just give you
not
bootlegs?
Ford, people who worked within Ford.
Oh, gotcha.
It would bootleg stuff. No, it wasn't a Ford.
It's been a great quarter, guys. Here's your bootlegs.
Everybody who worked the line at Ford was Red from Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
Just anything you wanted, they could get you. Yeah. They're good people, man.
Yeah. So, but with the show, with My Neighbors Are Dead, and I don't know if I'm sure we've implied what the show is, but I don't know if we explicitly stated that you have conversations with one half of the episode is just having an open conversation with your guest, and then the second half is they've picked a particular movie that they want to work in the world of, and then you interview them as a character who has grown up somehow adjacent to the events of the horror movie that they picked, right?
Yeah, it started exactly like this show. I think I was probably with Nate at a bar, and we were just doing that bit, and so that's how it started. It was a bar idea. So, but yeah, I mean, that's it. Like, we don't ever do like any proper characters, or at least we don't try to. Anybody that you might have seen in the movie. So yeah, it's all just a made up scenario with somebody that's we think would be funny, or the guest thinks would be funny in that world.
Yeah, it's a different kind of. I don't know. Do you have any like tips or thoughts on just like you're a great conversationalist. You can tell in the first half of the episode that you're just good at listening and asking questions of your guests in the first place. How does that sort of halfway world of between like it's like you're talking to a real person, but it's a character? Are there any little things you've noticed in the many episodes you've done that you would offer up to people who are doing anything similar?
The character stuff is way easy. Not way easy. It's way easier than I think talking to the actual person. Reps, man. I was so bad in the very beginnings of the show, like just talking into a microphone, like doing what we're doing right now. At least for me, I won't speak for anybody else, but it was really hard for me. It was really unnatural. Like,
you can speak for most people. That it is.
Yeah.
So I think, just keep doing it over and over and over again. And then one of the times that I felt I got, I don't want to say got good at it, but I felt that thing that you were just describing, James, was we had Colt Cabana on the show. I don't know if you guys know Colt. Colt's such a good dude, great wrestler, very funny guy. And he wasn't explicit about it, but I kind of got the vibe that he was on guard with Nate and I when he first came over. Because I don't know what he thought was going to happen. I don't know if he thought we were there to make fun of wrestling and to make fun of him or whatever it was. But like, I could tell he was really like, he was on his guard, and
was this after the CM Punk stuff? Cause
I don't,
yeah.
You know what? You might be right, Bob, that it, now that you say that, it might have been right after all of that stuff happened.
Really quick for James. So Colt Cabana has his own podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And his good friend, CM Punk, who is a very famous wrestler, had just quit the WWE and kind of explain what was going on. And a lot of things happened because it was broadcast on his podcast.
Oh shit! Okay.
So he caught shit from WWE, even though he wasn't a performer there or anything like that. It just, it was trouble for him. And then I think there was lawsuits and whatever. So I was just asking if that can make a guy paranoid.
Maybe he was going through some stuff on about podcasts. Yeah.
Now that you say that, Bob, that could have been around that time. So that might have been it. But that one of the first times, and again, I don't think I did like a particularly stellar job of doing it, but I was certainly conscious of like, I try to do it now with everybody. We're like, I just want you to have fun. You know, I want this to be a fun, funny thing for you, and for me certainly. But like, I just want to try to make people as comfortable as I can. Given like to try to fast track that thing that you were talking about, James, of like a lot of the people that we get on the show, I've never met before. They're either they could be a friend of Nate, or they could be a friend of Ryan, one of our producers. And like, so I've never met these people before, and I'm nervous as well too. Like I want to get as comfortable with them as I possibly can. So I think it's a practice in that of just trying to fast track that comfortability and just doing it while you have a mic in your face.
Yeah, man. I love that. And so are you saying that you tell people up front that like as the greeting is like, hey, thanks for doing the show, and I want you to have fun, like the spiel you just gave?
Ryan does it really well, but like we try to make it as fun and as low key as possible.
Yeah, I think that's sorry, Bob, just real quick, because I think that's like maybe really where my head winds up with anything that we were just talking about earlier in the show about improv is that like I want to always operate on that sincere mission that I want the people I'm with to have fun, and to also play under the assumption that that's what they are all also thinking. Like I think that goes a long way.
Oh yeah, well I was about to say like it's hard enough to meet people in person for the first time as it is. Like and then, and then to have that in the back of your head also is being recorded. That's got to be a little more difficult.
Totally.
But like, and just to piggyback on what James has said, I do think it just underlines everything we were just talking about before. Like the quicker we can get comfortable, the better the show will be.
Yeah.
So whether it's rehearsing or, just getting someone a beer before we start talking, like
totally, man.
Let's get it done.
And some of the people that we've had on the show they're pretty great. And I I'll be sitting there saying to myself, like, you and I both know you don't need to be here, but I appreciate your time. You've given me an hour of your time, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
This will do nothing for you and can only benefit me. So I appreciate it.
Well,
like asking someone to be on your podcast is like the new, like, can you help me move?
I was just going to say, what I was talking about before we went live is that like that's pretty much how we felt asking you on, Adam.
Oh, come on, no way.
We're going to send you a pizza and some beer as payment, like you would when someone helps you move.
Oh man,
give us your address. We'll send it to you.
Yeah.
It would DoorDash that stuff.
Please, it'd be nice. I'm pretty hungry.
Before we let you go, is there, obviously we've talked about My Neighbors Are Dead, which you can find anywhere with podcasts. You also have a Patreon. Is there any other way that people can check out the show and what you're doing?
Man, we're on Twitter at My Dead Neighbors because My Neighbors Are Dead was taken. So My Dead Neighbors on Twitter, but on Instagram it's at My Neighbors Are Dead. So just social, wherever you get your podcasts.
Right.
I guess how I'm supposed to say it.
Post links for the podcast and other ways to find it. And
this was super fun, guys. I'm sure. I don't think I talked about subtlety enough.
We didn't need to. I think we covered all the ground we needed to.
Did, guys?
Did we?
I think you nailed it.
I'm going to be in my head about this all day now.
Oh, man.
So well, we really appreciate. It was a great conversation. We really appreciate you being on the show, Adam. Thanks so much.
Having me, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
And for everyone else, just remember to go to the improvnetwork.org. Just like My Neighbors Are Dead, you can find us as a podcast as well. If you don't know, you're not always able to catch the live streams, you can subscribe to the podcast. While you're at it, just make it, two birds with one stone. Go give both this show and My Neighbors Are Dead us a 5-star rating and a review.
Yeah.
That is honestly
the same review for both. Cut and paste. No,
and then, you know what? Pick a third show of your choice and do the same thing.
Yeah, rule
One
3.
that maybe isn't getting it. Yeah, find just some random kid who's making a podcast like North Dakota. Give him a 5-star rating because he'd do it for you.
I hear the Coconut Heads are starting their own podcast.
We got to get these. You got to get the Coconut Heads.
Man, hashtag Coconut Heads.
the talking Coconut Heads. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for joining, and we'll catch you next time on the Improv Network podcast. Bye.
Bye.